Hi, I'm Travis Monson with Once Upon a Board Game. Today I want to teach you how to play the Vale of Eternity. Now this is a game from an Asian company, Mandu Games, designer Eric Hong. I got this at the Essen Game Convention about a year and a half ago, and it sold like hotcakes. It sold out right away, and it's been really popular. It was hard to get for a while, but I know that it has since gotten wider distribution throughout the U.S. and Europe. And it says on the box it plays 2 to 4 players in about 40 minutes. It says ages 14 and up. You can definitely play with younger kids, but there is a fair amount of text on the cards. So there's definitely, it takes some planning and thinking and kind of strategizing. So, you can't play with really little kids, but it is definitely one that is really fun. It kind of presents a puzzle each time you play. Let me show you how it works. Okay, as I said, I'm going to be teaching how to play the Vale of Eternity. Okay, I just want to point out, talk about the components really quick. The game comes with this. It's called an Eternity standee. It's got the little cardboard piece so it'll stand up, and it has no function for gameplay. I think it's just purely for visual appeal. So we never even put it up. We just leave it in the box. I'm just going to set that off to the side. You can use it if you want. You don't need to. It comes with enough player pieces for 4 players. I'm just gonna set the black and the gray pieces aside because we won't be doing a 4-player run through. I'll just be doing it for 2. So I'll set those over there. It comes with a whole supply of these money stones. They come in denominations of 1 or 3 or 6. Okay, so there's a bunch of those. There's this Eternity board, the player board. What do they call it in the rule book? They call it just the game board. And then of course there's the score track and the round tracker. Okay, so we of course would put the round marker on round number 1 at the start of the game. Shuffle up the deck. There's a deck of 70 cards. The cards there's 5 different suits, if you will, 5 different types. They correspond to the symbols here. There's the earth, water, fire, wind, and also dragons are the 5 different suits of cards. I'll talk more about the cards in just a moment. But then each player has 2 of their little player markers, and then also a score marker. Kind of denotes what color you are, and also if you go past 60, you flip it over to show you've got more than 60 points. But basically, just set out the boards, put the round marker there, determine who's going to be the first player. It says in the rulebook, the person who most recently saw a reptile. So whatever. Maybe let's say that was me. So let's say I'm the start player. I take the start player marker. Whoever goes in first place basically puts their point marker on number 1. And then everybody else, they put their in turn order. Whatever play order you're going to be in, you would start with that many points. So Allie being the second player, she would start with 2 points. If there was a third and a fourth player, they of course would start with 3 and 4 points. Okay, so we just keep our stuff in front of us for the time being, and we're pretty much ready to go. Of course, shuffle the deck. Okay, so this game is played over a number of rounds, and the goal is basically, it's a race to be the first one to 60 points, or when 10 rounds have been played. Whichever one of those things happens first, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Okay, so we're trying to score points as quickly as we can to hit 60 first. Okay, if nobody gets there, then the game is going to end after 10 rounds. Okay, typically it will end before that, but there you have it. So there's a timer and a racetrack effectively, for the points is kind of the race to 60. Okay, so again, each round you're going to play the same way. So first of all, you're going to deal cards to the game board here equal to the number of players times 2. So basically 2 cards per player. So we're going to need 4 cards. Okay, and each card, you're going to flip it over and you're going to put it next to its corresponding, so maybe I'll just move these stones over a little bit more. You're going to put it next to its corresponding suit. You could orient them, for more visibility on the table. I'll try and keep them all face up for the camera. So then here's one of these earth cards. The pink is the wind. The light blue is the water. The red, of course, is the fire. And then this dark blue, purplish is the dragons. Another earth card. Let me just set this deck a little bit over. So another earth card and another wind card. Okay, since I just laid out the cards for this first round, I figure now would be a good time to talk about the cards, what they look like, and what kind of information that they have. Okay, so first of all, you'll see each card has a name. Each card also has a cost. The term used in the rules for this game is the cost to summon the card. That just means to buy the card, to bring it into play. So how much you have to pay to play that card. Each card also has a suit. And as I talked about before, there's the fire, water, earth, and wind, and also dragons. And the general background color of the card also corresponds to that suit. So it's really easy to see which cards are which. Each card also has an effect, meaning what that card does for you, and the type of effect, meaning when that effect is going to trigger. There's 3 types of effects. There's a lightning bolt, meaning that's instant. The moment that you play that card, the moment that it's summoned, the moment that you pay for it and bring it into play, that effect triggers. There's the permanent, the infinity sign effects. Those effects are always in effect for you as long as that card remains in play in front of you. You would only lose that ability if you ever discard the card or have to, get rid of it somehow. And then finally, there's the active effects. Those are the ones that you activate at the end of each round. So for instance, this card right here, it says, again, the active. So at the end of each round, this player will be able to earn $1, one of those 1-point stones, and also 1 point. Okay, just as a for example. So that's what the cards look like, the kind of information that they have. Okay, I just talked about what the cards look like and the information that's on them. So let's talk about how a round works. And again, as a reminder, as you can see with this, with the round marker and the round track, the game will end either after 10 rounds or before that if somebody hits or surpasses 60 points. Okay, so each round is played the same way. First and foremost, you're going to deal cards out to the game board here, equal to 2 cards per player at the game, at the table. So in a 2-player game, we have 4 cards at the game board. Then each round goes through 3 phases. The first phase is called the hunting phase. That's where basically we're going to use these little markers to stake a claim on the cards. I'll explain that in just a second. After we've done that, then we take the action phase. That's basically the heart of the turn, the heart of each round. And then finally, the resolution phase is the kind of the end of the round, the cleanup where you kind of use some of those active powers that happen at the end of each round. So the hunting phase, how does this work? Well, beginning with the start player, you're going to basically do a snake draft in terms of claiming cards. And snake draft means you start with the start player, you go clockwise around the table till you get to the last player, then that person goes again, and then you go counterclockwise back to the start player. So the start player will go first and last, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it on one of these cards, and then that card is effectively claimed for me, and nobody else can touch it. Okay, so again, you look, well, what do these cards do? This one here says I can immediately draw a card. This is once you summon the card, once I pay for it and bring it into play. So this will immediately let me draw an extra card, and then a permanent effect of the cost of all of my pink, all of my wind cards is reduced by 2. So that's nice. If I want to buy a bunch of pink cards, this makes them all cheaper. This one says at the end of every single round, I get to draw an extra card into my hand. That's a really good power. This costs 4, that costs 7. Up here, this says immediately when I summon it, I can exchange one of my stones, and again, the stones are the currency, the money. I can exchange 1 to get a value 6. So I could maybe cash into 1 to get a 6 instead. So that's kind of a neat power, but it's just a one-time effect. And then this guy says permanently, I can, at the end of every turn, I can choose one of those one of those green cards from the discard pile and add it to my hand. So that's another good ability. So you got to think, well, what do I want to do? I kind of like that permanent ability of pink cards being cheaper. So I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to claim that card. Then it comes to Allie. And Allie's been kind of thinking this through, and she says, you know what? I really want to try getting both of those cards. I was thinking, bummer, I kind of wanted one of those, but oh well, so c'est la vie. So then it comes back to me, and then I would claim this. So that was effectively the hunting phase, okay? We're done with that. We move into the action phase. So again, beginning with the start player, you get to do your actions. Okay, let's talk about the action phase. As I said up front, this is kind of the heart of every round. This is where the most stuff happens. And during the action phase, there's 4 types of actions you can do, and there's a good summary and a breakdown of what those actions do and how they work in the rule book here. With those 4 actions, you can do them as often as you want in whatever order you want, as long as you're able. And really your turn is going to end when you basically say, okay, I have nothing left to do, I pass. And then it would go to the next person and so on until everybody has taken all their actions. So what are the things you can do? Well, like I said, it's summarized here. You can sell a card, tame a card, summon a card, or remove a card. So what does that mean? Well, if you sell a card, that's how you get money. That's how you get the currency. Okay, 2 things that I want to point out. First of all, every suit, every different element in the dragons, they always are going to sell for this specific and exact same amount of money. Okay, it's summarized on the board here. These pink earth or wind cards are always going to sell for a 3 and a 1. The water cards sell for 3. The earth sells for 4 1s. The fire sells for 3 1s. The dragon sells for a single 6. Okay. That's always going to be the case. No matter when you sell it, every card is going to sell for that same amount. So you plan around that. And a very important thing to plan for is the fact that you are constrained to only ever having 4 stones. Okay? Not $4, 4 total stones. Whether they're 4 1s or 4 6s, it doesn't matter. You can have 4 stones in front of you, 4 currency. So that's a very important planning factor that you really kind of have to think about in terms of how am I going to get the money to pay for certain cards and how am I going to sequence this, all that kind of stuff. If you're ever in a situation where you draw more, it would force you'd be able to draw more than 4. You'd have to immediately discard back down to 4, right? So you can only ever have 4 stones. Now this does bring up one point I want to mention. It does specifically talk in the rule book that with some card abilities may basically break the general rules of the game. But it specifically points out that card abilities, they trump the rules. So those supersede the rules of the game. And I'm mentioning this because there is a card in the deck that I've seen that has its permanent ability, says you can have 6 total stones in front of you. So instead of just the limit of 4, you can have $6, six stones of currency in front of you. So that's an example of how the card would trump the rules of the game. Okay, but barring that special ability, everyone is constrained to just 4 total stones. Okay, you can have 4 stones in front of you. So and the way that you get those is the sell a card action. So that's one thing you can do. The other things you can do, first of all, there's the tame a card. You just draw it into your hand. There's no hand limit. You can have as many cards in your hand as you want. There's the summon a card action. That's where you would play that card. You would pay the price to bring the card into play and you would put it in front of you. Now, an important thing to keep in mind is there is a limit to how many cards you can have summoned, how many cards you can have in your personal tableau in front of you. And the limit is equal to the round that you're in. So in round 1, I can only have 1 summoned card. In round 2, I can have 2 summoned cards, and so on, all the way up to possibly I could maybe have 10 cards summoned in front of me by the end of the game in round 10. Okay? So you are limited to how many cards you can summon by the round that you're in. And also, that's where the price for removing a card comes into play. If there's a card that I want to get rid of, the cost to remove a card is also equal to the round that I'm in. Okay, so in round 1, I would pay $1 to get rid of a card. By round 5, I'd pay $5 to get rid of the card. And why would I want to get rid of a card, you ask? Well, maybe like, let's say we're in round 3. I already have 3 good cards in front of me, but then I draw another card. Oh, I really would rather have this ability instead of this one. But I'm already at my limit of 3 cards. Well, I would have to pay to remove a card to then make room for that new card that I could summon, if that makes sense, okay? So again, you can sell cards for money, and that you always know how much money you're going to get by the suit. You can tame them, draw them into your hand. There's no hand limit. You can summon a card. You're limited to the number of summoned cards equal to the round that you're in. Or you can pay money to remove a card and discard it from play. And the amount you pay is, again, the round that you're in. So those are your options. And you can do any of those actions as much as you want in whatever order you want until you've got nothing left to do. And then you would pass to the next person and so on. Okay, so let's get back to this. So I talked before about really wanting to get this pink card where all the future pink cards are going to be cheaper for me. So for maybe my first action, I'm going to say, you know what? I want to tame that card. I want to draw it into my hand. Now, this is going to cost 4 to play. I've got no money. So maybe for my next action, I say, you know what? I'm going to sell this card. I sell this, and it sells for a 3 and a 1. So I take the money, and I just would discard that. Maybe I'll move the board over just a little bit. Make room for a discard pile up here. Okay, so now maybe I say, hey, I want to summon a card. It costs $4. I've got $4. I pay that, and I put it into play in front of me. Okay, now I've got nothing left to do. I've got no money. I've got nothing left in my hand. Although, wait, I forgot. The immediate effect of this card, when I play it, I get to immediately draw a card. Boom. Oh, look at that. I drew a dragon. I could, if I want right now, I could sell this for a value 6 currency. Okay, but maybe I want to keep my options open. Maybe I'll just remain flexible. So I'm going to hold on to this card. I'll keep it in my hand. Okay, and again, I got nothing left to do. So I say, I'm done. I pass. So it comes to Allie. Okay, Allie says, you know, she really likes this card in terms of being able to draw at the end of every single turn to draw a green card from the discard pile. So she's going to draw this into her hand. Okay, she's going to tame it. And it costs 6. She doesn't have enough to pay for it yet. So she says, you know what, maybe I'll sell this card for $4. So she will draw 4 1s for selling that. So she's at her limit in terms of stones. She can take no more money. Well, if she took more, she'd have to discard some. So she sold that one. Okay, and Allie says she would love to play it, but she only has 4. It costs 6. She can't do it yet. So she's done. She says, I'm done. That then ends the action phase. Now we would go to the resolution phase, the end of each round. And really in the resolution phase, you basically look, does anybody have one of those hourglass abilities that activates at the end of every round? Nobody does. Allie would if she had this card summoned in play in front of her, but it's not played yet. So no one has anything. So we would go to round 2. The start player marker passes to the next person clockwise at the table. So Allie will be the start player for the next round. We reseed the board with 2 cards per player. So there's another air card. I'm thinking, hey, that's nice. I can get that card for cheaper. There's a water card, there's a fire card, and there is another earth card. Okay. All right, and so now it's back to Allie, and Allie can, now we go back to that, the hunting phase where we take our markers to stake claim on cards. So Allie's thinking, she can get a green card from the discard pile every single turn. So if she can get this into play, maybe she'd be able to get one of these cards. So that's something she's thinking about. So Allie says, and she says, you know what? I would love to maybe deny Travis that card. So she says, I'm gonna claim that pink card because that might give her a 3. She can do a 3 and 3 1s, and that should have the 6 to play this card. So she's thinking, I'll do that. And I think, oh, you suck. I wanted that. I said, well, so be it. Okay, so I get to go in snake draft. I get to go twice in a row, and then Allie would go last. So I say, I'm gonna claim this card, and maybe I'll take this card. Okay, and then Allie says, okay, well, I'll take that one. Okay, so the hunting phase is over. Then we move into the action phase. Allie's the start player. She gets to go first. She would like to get this card played. So she says, you know what? Maybe I'm going to sell this card. She will sell that, goes in the discard pile, and she would sell it for a 3 and a 1. But problem, $6 or 6 stones, she can only have 4. So she would immediately have to discard down to 4. Okay? Because you can only ever have 4 stones. But now she says, well, that's perfect. I've got $3, $4, $5, $6. I can pay those 6 to summon this card and bring it into play. Okay? And now she says, okay, I've got another card here. She says, you know what? This is a green card. If I sell it right now for currency, it's going to be in the discard pile. At the end of every turn, I can take a green card out of the discard pile. So she thinks, maybe I'll just do that. She says, I'll sell this card for $4. And then she will put that in the discard pile. So Allie is done. She's got nothing left to do. So she says, okay, your turn. Comes to me. I've got this dragon that could give me $6 if I want to sell it. Or the immediate effect, when I play it, I'll get 5 points for every dragon card in my play area. That would be the only dragon card, so it would score 5 points. So if I could play this later on, I could get maybe 10 or more points. So that's something to think about. But I do like this ability of I get $1 and a point at the end of every single round. So I say, I'm going to tame this card. I'll put it in my hand. And this one here, it has a permanent ability. Whenever I pay a value 3 stone to summon a card, I'm going to also get 2 points along with that ability. So I say, well, that's great. Do I want to do that? Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I say, I will just sell this card for now. And I get a 3. And I'm thinking, oh, that's kind of a bummer because this card only costs 1. I don't have a 1. I'd love to have some of these 1s, the flexibility Allie has. But you know what? I would rather right now get this in play to start getting points. So even though I paid 3, it only costs 1, I don't get change. Okay, so that's something you got to think about when you plan the game. Again, right now, even if I had more money, I could not play this card now because that would be 3 summoned cards. We're only in round 2. My limit of summoned cards is only 2. So I can't play another card even if I want to. I could sell it, but I'll hold on to it for now. So we've both taken our actions. So we're done. We move to the next. We first of all look, does anybody have any end of round effects? And we do. I get $1 and I get 1 point. So then I also have 2 points. I'm tied with Allie now, okay? And then Allie says, I choose a green card, an earth card from the discard pile, and I add it to my hand. So Allie could either take that one that she discarded initially, where she can exchange one of her stones for a 6, or she could get this super expensive sand giant where she gets 4 points for every green card in her play area. Ooh, she likes that. I mean, she may have to plan for it because it costs 10, but she could possibly get, maybe she'll get this on a future turn. Maybe she wants to get this guy to get a value 6. To help pay for that guy. So she'll take this one. So use her end of round ability to draw this green card from the discard pile. Okay. Then the start player moves. We go to the next round. We reset the board. There's a green card, a couple more earth cards. Allie likes that because she can get green cards. Oh, another air card. I like that. I can get them cheaper. And then another water card. Okay. And we repeat. Maybe I'll just play through one more round and then maybe I'll fast forward a little bit to show you what it might look like. So again, back to me. This costs 3. When I play it, I would immediately get to draw a card from the deck. And at the end of every round, I would recover the card. It would come back into my hand. And so you think, well, why would you want to do that? You'd have to pay for it again. Well, it's good because I get that ability of getting extra cards and then it comes out of, and I can get it for cheaper. but then it comes back into my hand, so it leaves room for other cards. So it gives you kind of that flexibility. So take it or leave it. Some people like that ability, some people don't. This says immediately get a value 3 stone, and then it also comes back in your hand at the end of each round. This says immediately discard a card from your hand and earn points equal to the value of how much it costs. Ooh, Allie's thinking, ooh, if she can get that, if she could draw that value 10 card and discard it, boom, she can get $10. And then she could recover from, oh, she really likes that. So she's thinking she wants to get that one. And then this one, at the end of every round, if an opponent has more points than you, earn 4 points. Otherwise, lose 4 points. Ooh, that's kind of tricky. All right, so to me, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I've got this card that costs, I'm thinking I really don't want Allie to get that where she can discard a value 10. Say, I know what she can do. I'm not going to just let her take that. So Allie goes, oh, you suck. I really wanted that card. Oh, well. So it comes to Allie. She's got her 2 stones to hunt with. She says she will. This is super cheap, and it gives her a 3. And then she could do that a bunch of times because she's got a bunch of 1s. She could do it each round. And then she's not quite as interested in those cards. Allie's thinking if she can get that other card in play where she gets the Sand Giant, where you get points for every Earth card, maybe she wants to double down and get more Earth cards. And then I say, okay, well, then I would take what's left. So then it comes to me. Again, I'm still sitting on this Dragon card that I could discard for $6 if I want. I've got this card where I can draw a card and then I can recover it at the end of the round. It only costs me 1. It costs 3 minus 2 because of my ability. So maybe I will. Maybe I will summon this card right now. Okay. So again, that only costs me 1. I've got 1. And that lets me immediately draw a card, which is an Earth card, where at the end of every round I could steal 1 point from any opponent. Okay. And at the end of the round, I'm going to recover this back into my hand. With this other card, you know what? I say I would rather tame that. I'm going to put that in my hand and hopefully pay for it later to discard something and score that many points. So that's me. I'm done. Even if I wanted to, I could discard this Dragon card or one of these other cards for more money to then maybe play something else, but I'm at my limit. I can only have 3 cards in round 3. So I'm not going to play anything else. I'm done. So it comes to Allie. Allie says, oh, you know what? First of all, she's gonna tame this card, but then she's gonna immediately play it. Okay, because it only costs her $1. And then she immediately earns a value 3. And then at the end of the round, she's going to take this back into her hand. So it's not going to clog up her summoned cards. And then she's got this one. If an opponent has more points than you, gain 4, otherwise lose 4. She's not really sure what she wants to do with it, if she wants to summon that or not. But even if she sold it, she's already full with her 4 stones, so she can't take any more. So she'll just tame it. She'll put it in her hand for now. Okay, so we're done with our actions. Again, we go to that recover phase, or the resolution phase, I think is what it's called at the end of each round. We look at any end of round abilities. First of all, I get a point and $1. So I get another $1, I get another point. This one says recover. So this comes back into my hand. Okay. Allie, choose a green card from the discard pile, add it to your hand. She really likes that Sand Giant. She wants that ability. And then this one also says recover. So this one also comes back into her hand. So Allie's sitting on a lot of cards. She could sell cards to get money and just keep buying things. So, she's thinking about that. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. And then that's it for this round. So we would go to round 4. The start player marker goes to the next player clockwise order. We would refill with cards and so on. And you may think, a race to 60 points. What the heck? How is that going to happen? Well, the first couple of rounds, it might go slow, slow, slow. And then boom, it's like somebody just hit fast forward and you just kick it into overdrive. The turns you accelerate. You may be getting 15, 20, 30 points, on 1 or 2 turns. I mean, it's crazy how quickly the game accelerates once you start getting some of those other cards into play. As you can see, we're already here getting a lot more flexibility with cards in our hand, the ability to sell for more money, all that kind of stuff. So let me just fast forward a little bit to what it might look like later in the game. Okay, it's not quite the end of the game, but we're close. We are currently about to start round 8. Allie will be the start player. We just finished up round 7. As you can see, we both had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had 7 summoned cards. That was the limit in round 7. So now in round 8, we could play up to 1 more, or more if we paid to remove some cards. But And you'll notice that I've kind of stacked the cards by family, by by what element they're a part of. I do that to kind of save table space. You can do it this way if you like. I basically I can see the cost and I can see the abilities, and I've just got them stacked so I know what types of cards I have. Or you can lay them out. It's totally up to you. But one thing I want to point out, you can see we're currently sitting at, I got 46, Allie's got 39. That last turn, Allie, with one single card, boom, she got 20 points, came screaming back, and I thought I was running away with it. But you can see in these later turns, when you start compounding abilities and card effects, you can get a whole bunch of points. Okay, but here we are in round 8, and Allie's the start player, so she'll go first, and she had her eye on that card. She really wants that, and you'll see why in just a second. Then it comes to me, and I'm thinking, you know what? I think I want this guy, and I think I'll earn this guy as well. And Allie says, good, I want that guy. Okay, so that's the hunting phase. Now we go to the action phase. Allie's first. She's gonna start just by grabbing these cards in front. She'll tame them, add them to her hand, and then go from there. And again, these cards laid out below, this is effectively what's in our hand. People would just be holding that. I just have it laid out so it was easier for me to see as I was kind of playing through the game. Okay, Allie, first of all, wants to take this fire card. No, you know what? She won't. She'll take this air card. She'll discard that guy, or rather she'll sell it, and the air gives her 4, gives her 3 and a 1. And then she will summon this guy, the one that costs 0. So she doesn't have to pay anything. And that says immediately discard all your stones and earn points equal to the value of what you discarded. So boom, she can discard $10 worth of stones to score 10 more points. So just like that, Allie took the lead. Okay, she is at her limit now. She's got 8 cards played in round 8. So unless she pays to remove a card, and it would cost $8 to remove a card, she can't play anything additionally. So she's thinking she would love to play this card if she could. This guy could give her a 3. This guy could give her 3 more. That's only 6. It would cost 8. Plus then she'd have to pay to summon the card. So she doesn't have enough money to do it. So she says she's done. So then it comes to me for my turn. I say, okay, I'll take these 2. I'm just going to add them in my hand for now. I'm going to tame them and then see what I can do with them. And first of all, I want to play this guy. I've had my eye on him for a while now. I've been building up to it. Again, this costs 0 to summon, so I don't have to pay anything. And it says immediately, if cards with written costs of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are in your area, earn 10 points. And I've got a 1 here. I've got a couple of 1s. I've got a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So I got that. Boom, 10 points. From 46 to 56, I'm almost at the 60 points to trigger the end of the game. And then I would like to play one more if I could, but I'm at my limit of 8. So I would have to discard 8. I'd have to pay 8 to remove a card. So I'm thinking, can I do that? Because I would love to also be able to play this card, which would cost 5. So if I, for instance, sell an air card, that would get me a 3 and a 1. So look at that, 3, 6, 7, 8. There's $8. So I can I'll just remove that card I just played. I don't need that anymore. I got the 10 points. So now I'm back to 7. And my limit again in round 8 is 8 summon cards. So I can still play one more. I would love to play this. This guy costs 5. So what can I do? I have another air card. I can sell this one to give me a 3 and a 1. And I can sell one of these fire cards for 3 1s. Again, only 2 more would be my limit. The third one I'd have to discard down to just 4 stones. But now I've got 3, 4, 5. I got $5, so I can summon this card. So boom. Then I've got 1 card and $1. There's nothing else I can really do. Say I'm done with the actions. So now we go to that resolution phase, the end of round. So starting with the start player, we look at any of her hourglasses. So first of all, it says if any opponent has more points than you, gain 4. So I do have more than her, so she gains, 1, 2, 3, 4 more points. Then this says she can lose either 0, 1, or $2 to get a value 1 or 3 or 6 stone. She says, sure, why not? I'll just take I don't lose any points. I'll get a value 1. She would have loved to have gotten this guy in play because it said if she had a 6, she could get 3. So she could effectively lose 2 to get 3. So she'd be gaining 1 point for free each turn if she would have had that in combination. Or even this one would have been good too. She can discard one of her 1s to get 3 points. So that would be a good combination where every turn she could get a 1 for free and then discard it for 3 more points. So you look for those kind of combinations of cards that benefit you, and it's really fun to to build that engine of point generation and trying to puzzle it out. That's kind of one of the fun things about this game is making that all work in your head and making it a reality with the cards that you've played. And this last one says you can choose a green card from the discard pile. It's not going to matter because I'm about to end the game. Are there any green cards in here? I think she's used them all. They're all in play. So there's no green cards there, so this one doesn't have any effect. So she's done with her end of round abilities. Now comes to me. And whenever you have multiple abilities, you can do them in whatever order you want. Like, for instance, this one says I can steal one from an opponent. So Allie loses a point and I gain a point. I like that. Oops, I went the wrong way. I lost a point and I gave her a point. Let me take her down one and be up one. I did it backwards. This says I can get a point and $1. So let me get one more point and one more $1. Then this says earn 1 point for every card family. I've got 4 different families of cards. So that's 4 more points. 1, 2, I hit 60. So I show that I'm 60 plus more. And then the 3, 4. So this is the last round of the game because I'm 60 or farther. But then I still have these other 2 cards. So this one says, I can discard a value 3 chip to earn 5 points. And this says I can get a value 3 chip. So again, you choose the order to do it. So of course I want to do this one first to get a value 3 chip. And then I'm going to do this one where it says I can discard a value 3 chip to get 5 points. So then 5 more points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom. So we've both finished the resolution phase. I am beyond 60, and so the game would end right now, right? So if we hadn't quite yet hit 60, then we would just go to the next round. The first player marker would pass. We would reset the board, and we would play another round. But since somebody surpassed 60, this is the final round. And then you look, I'm clearly ahead of her, so I'm the one that wins. And it does have tiebreaker rules in here. Like if Allie had also surpassed 60 and we ended up tied, it does say at the end of the game, the tiebreaker says, first of all, in case of a tie, the player among them with the most summoned card wins. All right, well, we both have 8 summoned cards. He says, if it's still a tie, they share the victory. So that's one of those womp womp. You have to rejoice in your shared victory, which I don't think there is such a thing. But anyway, you can see how Vale of Eternity works. And it's really fun to kind of puzzle together and to get... There's this whole deck of cards, there's 70 different cards and they all have all kinds of different effects, and trying to puzzle out how to make the cards work for you like this, where get 3 and then turn the 3 in for 5 points. But if I could have done that earlier in the game, that would have been awesome. 5 free points every round. But you can kind of see how it works. And it's just a super, super fun little game, trying to puzzle it out together, and it plays pretty quick. So that's the Vale of Eternity. As you can see, it's a really clever little game. It's really... Each time you play, it kind of presents a new puzzle of how, looking at the cards that you get, the cards that are available, in the display, and trying to piece together what can I use how can I combo those cards together to benefit me the most, generating money that I can then, hopefully turn into points, because it's points. It's a race to 60. And the game it starts out slow those first couple turns as you kind of build that engine. But then, boom, it goes into overdrive and you start jumping up in points each turn. Like I think you saw, I think I ran through 3 turns before I kind of skipped to the end of the game. And the score was, we only had a couple of points each, maybe 2 to 3, something like that by the 3rd round. But then by round 7, when I came back right as we were going into round 8, it was like 40 something to like 46 to 39 or something like that. So we had jumped way up in just a few extra turns. And I mean, you definitely get that sense of escalation, and it's really rewarding when you kind of find those combinations at work. And each game presents that different puzzle. And it's really quick and easy. I mean, it's no more than 10 rounds, but I don't think I've ever played a game that's gone the full 10 before somebody hits 60. So it's not even 10 turns or 10 rounds. And it's just, pick the cards you want to use, and then how can I, either take those cards or sell them or play them to benefit me the most. And it's just really fun to puzzle that out and make it work. And when you find that good combination, it's really rewarding and really satisfying. So hopefully this has taught you how to play. Hopefully it's piqued your interest a little bit. Hopefully you don't have any questions. Hopefully I explained it well enough for you to sit down and play it yourself. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And yeah, give me a like and subscribe, and let me know if there's a game you want me to cover. But thanks again for your time. I appreciate you watching. Travis Montz with Once Upon a Board Game.